continent of Africa has a mixture of languages. There are an estimated 1,500 different languages spoken in the 52 countries. From an outsider's point of view, this could be a sign of rich cultural and linguistic diversity, but it is also often seen as an obstruction to forging national identities and development. Modern society tries to tackle this problem through education, but not without some unwanted consequences, namely the loss of original languages and identity. An example of this phenomenon are the Turkana. So who are the Turkana? They are a fierce and fearsome tribe, numbering over 500,000. They live in the desert stretching from across northern Kenya and southern Sudan. They are the most predominant tribe in the area, even having a lake named after them, Lake Turkana. Some other interesting facts. The Turkana have defied colonization by both whites and blacks for over a century. They live for their livestock and will do anything to protect it. This and the fact that they like to steal cattle from other tribes makes them toughened warriors. Oh yeah, they love fighting. They are also a monotheistic people. They worship Akui, the bringer of rain. Not so surprising in the desert, of course. To them, he is synonymous with life. Wealth is measured mainly in livestock, well, at least for the men, while rich women wear large numbers of beaded necklaces, which they never take off. An example of this you can see in this picture. So, what is their problem exactly? Well, the Turkana were left isolated from most political and economic life during the 20th century. This makes their culture and traditions very unique and special. There were only minimal changes in their lifestyle and identity as a result. So now, of course, there is modern society, there is post-colonial Kenya, and a need to adapt, to change to new conditions, a grander scale. So, as I explained in the beginning of this presentation, having many different languages can be a problem. The sheer number of tribes in a country such as Kenya causes linguistic problems. Well, let me explain. Tribal allegiances are still the most powerful forces within countries like Kenya. But if these tribes don't understand each other, if there is no mutual comprehension, then there is also no social and political cohesion. In the past, this often resulted in civil wars. So, how do they try to fix this problem? Well, Kenyatta, the current president of Kenya, chose to adopt Swahili as a lingua franca, one language which everyone can speak and understand. Swahili was almost exclusively an maybe original, but also oral, mostly, language then. So the plan was simple. They wanted to eliminate tribal differences and unite the country. Though for the Turkana, Swahili didn't have much use aside from trading. It was simply a practical necessity. They had to learn it to trade. So then, when schools finally arrived in Kenya, which was only very recently, they immediately started to teach in Swahili or English. Unfortunately, it is evident that Turkana was not being taught at all. So for young Turkana children, this was actually a double-edged sword, like the saying would say. So on the one hand, they receive an education, which is of course really good when they go to school, and they become involved in a wider Kenyan society. The danger, naturally, is that they are in danger of losing their mother tongue. The pressure to conform and speak English or Swahili is simply too great in schools. And then on the other hand, Turkana children that stay in the village preserve their language, culture, and their identity, of course, but they risk remaining outsiders, remaining desert people for the rest of their lives. Fortunately, it wasn't all bad, or it isn't all bad. There have been efforts to preserve the language, the Turkana language. So, Catholic missionaries created a script. This is a kind of set of conventions for writing a language. It was based upon the Roman alphabet. And the script is taught at the mission primary schools, but it needs to be adopted by state schools to really have effect. Um, to to people that visited the Turkana, the people, it is apparent why their language shouldn't be lost. Turkana is unusually rich in mythology, ritual dances, and songs. Concepts such as Akui, their bringer of rain, their god, um, concepts such as that simply can't be expressed in another language. It would lose all its meaning. So it is very obvious that language is their culture. Thank you for listening.